great. So as long as we're talking about agentic AI and agents, another big announcement we saw this week was around agent creation and control from Dataiku. So Dataiku is a well-funded analytics and AI company. They have long been handling problems around data management, data workflows, competing against the likes of Alteryx, Informatica, SnapLogic, iPaaS companies, as well as application integration companies like Workato. So you kind of get the idea. These people are deep into integration agents, but now they have this new capability that they announced last week in New York around their AI agents with Dataiku, where they want to be the third party to manage and orchestrate agents from a cost perspective, from an activity perspective, from a lineage perspective.
Well, I thought it was interesting that in the release there was a couple of points that they made. So that over 20% of customers now use the product to integrate Gen AI into the business data workflows, with multiple projects exceeding 1,000 active use cases. Well, 20% seems like a lot, right? But what's the end here? That's the thing I was starting to get curious about, is exactly how big is that pool? And when they say that these applications deliver a combination of analytics models and agents that only they can deliver, well, to a certain extent, it kind of sounds a bit like puffery to me. So what's your take on this?
Gosh, I think this is the tricky area because nobody has got agentic AI figured out. Right now, there are a bunch of agentic silos, like we just talked about ServiceNow, which in and of itself, they would talk about how they do agent orchestration within the ServiceNow platform. So you can create all the agents you want within ServiceNow and then have them talk to each other and magically do all of your work. And, Salesforce would talk about this with Agentforce. SAP would talk about this with Joule. Everybody has their solution for agentic AI and how you're going to be able to orchestrate and automate work within their own platform. But when you want to go across these silos, there still isn't a great solution. A few weeks ago, we talked about how Google was bringing out agent to agent to start helping agentic silos talk together. But Google tends to work more around standards and individualized technical capabilities rather than to build, say, integration platforms. So I feel like Dataiku is at least taking a stance on how to make these agents work together, creating an agent mesh, what it means to govern these agents. So I think that part is interesting, that at a time when we are still trying to figure out how do we control these agents, Dataiku's at least taking that next step to try to figure out what you're going to do once 10,000 people create 50,000 agents across all these different platforms.
Yeah, I don't want to make it seem as though I'm just tossing darts here, because as you rightly point out, there are a lot of agentic tools, both currently in the marketplace and are going to be coming. So that means that there's going to be a lot of ways of stitching them together. And the three questions that kind of stand out on my mind. So what compelling set of capabilities does this represent to the adopting firm? Why is it better than a DIY approach given the state of the market? And even if it's currently advantageous, will the price point be able to hold up over time? As an end user organization, are you willing to make the bet on them that this is the horse you're going to ride, because it may actually not turn out all that well? Now, I'm certainly not willing to discount any of their claims here, but I think it's worth a little extra due diligence on the part of the organizations as they're doing their vetting and building their forward-looking plans.
Yeah, and it's early days from an agent management perspective. I fully expect that the likes of Informatica and Boomi and Alteryx, all of which have their shows, by the way, I think around May 13th, 14th, 15th, they all picked that same time frame this year for their show. I'm betting all three of those will have some sort of agentic management solution that they are going to announce at the show as well. This is quickly going to become a very crowded and confusing market where everybody's going to be defining agentic management in their own way.
Yeah.
So at the beginning of this year, we had no third-party agentic management, and by June of this year, we're just going to be surrounded by it. For those of us who care about application and integration management, and that boring IT kidding.
Yeah.